Welcome back to Unstable. I am Jeff Steckel, aka Big Stack, your humble and loyal and always ever-present host. With me is Justin from Teammaker_DFF. How you doing, man?
Oh, brother, doing pretty good. It's ready to get into another week. Again, we just continue the circus. Let's see what the clowns are going to do this week.
Some people talking about a clown car, and I feel like they're talking about the Colts. They might be getting political about it, but I always just anyway.
Yeah, just enjoy the show.
It's football. I mean, it is what it is at this point. The Colts are going to Colt, but this is the 43rd episode. Make sure you show some love. Give us a like, share it, subscribe. Still sitting at 69. I feel like you guys are playing a joke on us, but you're trying to reach 100. Help us out. We really appreciate it.
Nobody wants to be the one to make it 70 and kill the joke.
I know. Like we don't want to ruin that number. It's a lot of people's favorite number. Just keep it right there.
169, and that'll be just as funny.
Oh yeah, well, help us get there then. Just got the Jets. Going to be talking about that, and probably just talking about future games, just because I'm not going to say that the season's over or anything like that, because that's not necessarily the case. It feels like it, but it's not. But there's a tough road in front of them, and they got to fix shit tomorrow. Like, that's really the bottom line of this. We'll get into that because we kind of discussed realistic win-loss to actually make the playoffs. It's playoffs. I'm talking about playoffs, but I mean, they are one game out of the 7 seed right now, so it's. I don't want to get all excited, but it's a long shot.
Yeah,
they're almost they're there. They're in the hunt, but it's got to start. It's got to start today.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I mean, there's a better chance than Jacksonville and Tennessee. I think they're both at less than 1%, so we're at a higher chance.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's at least our injury report doesn't look too bad. Bernard Ryman's out, but I think Goncalves, I think is how you say his name, Goncalves. I don't know.
Yeah.
Matt. I think he filled in nicely for Bernard, and obviously Kelly's on IR for at least 2 or 3 more weeks. And I think Bortolini has filled in really well for him. I actually think he's a little bit faster. I don't want to say as explosive, but I think he's faster getting downfield on those run blocks. I saw him make a really good block on a Jonathan Taylor run, so he's looking pretty good. And EJ Speed, I think, is the only one questionable, logged a full day Friday, so I'm assuming he'll go. Other than that, it looks good for the Colts. Jets have a little bit longer of an injury report. Out is Hanson, Mosley, and Tyrone Smith. And questionable is Devontae Adams and Solomon Thomas. Aaron Rodgers was listed, but he's a full participant all week. And I guess we'll just get right into the Jets, man. I have a bad feeling about this one. I feel like the Colts are more capable of running away with this game than the Jets are. Yeah. I don't know why I have that feeling of comfort with that, but I don't see the Jets running away with this game. If there's going to be a blowout, I think it'd be leaning to the Colts. I don't see a blowout happening in this game.
No.
And I feel like the more likely scenario is the Colts make Aaron Rodgers look like the Aaron Rodgers of old. I hope not, but I think they have good weapons on the Jets. Their line is not good, but they've got Devontae Adams. He and Aaron Rodgers obviously go a long time back. They had a good rapport in Green Bay, and I also really like what's his name, Wilson. Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good receiver. So
amazing, yeah.
And I don't think our corners match up well with anybody. I think Jalen Jones has done okay, but man, if Devontae Adams comes out and has himself a day, and Garrett Wilson, we know we can have a good day.
Yeah,
and this is another game that I think it'll be a fun game. I think it'll be an entertaining game, but the key here is they got to get to Aaron Rodgers, and there's some games where they've done pretty good job of it. I think they did really well with that against the Vikings. I feel like they were all over Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And I think they did a pretty good job of it against CJ Stroud. Unfortunately, the secondary just couldn't back it up. So obviously against Trevor Lawrence, they did terrible getting to him, but that's been the Colts story, kind of just inconsistent, non-complimentary football for most of the year. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, we should have a little bit better success in a lot of ways because, I mean, their defense isn't as strong this late in the season. JT's running good. AD Mitchell looked good. I mean, AR can do things on his feet that Joe couldn't do. So it's just going to be – we're just going to have to sit back and wait. I think this is going to be a really hard game to predict because neither one of these teams are what we expected coming into the season or what we expected in the middle of the season. So it's going to be a fun and a nail biter to sit back and just let the anxiety take over and just watch and see what happens. Is it going to be a dumpster fire or are we barely going to get out with a win?
Yeah, this could turn into a really sloppy game, and it's just going to come down to which one plays the least terrible. I really hope Anthony Richardson. I'm not going to say in 2 weeks that he's turned the corner and he's going to turn into an elite quarterback over a couple of weeks of a benching, but you just want to see a little bit of improvement. Right? That's all you really want to see at this point. You just want to see him make some better decisions. You want to see him protect himself if he gets out of the pocket and runs. You just want to see some kind of growth. Like his last performance, I wouldn't say it was all his fault, but he only had 44% completion or something against the Texans.
Something like that.
And there was a lot of drops. A few of them were contested. I mean, kind of a 50-50, they'll catch it, they won't catch it kind of deal, but it's and we've been very critical on Shane Steichen here. His play calling has been bad and really bad at times. I can't remember who they were playing. We talked about it in depth.
Putting it nicely,
he took Taylor out of the game for an entire quarter, and it was a 3 or a 6 point game, and just made no sense to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Right now, this team hasn't given me a whole lot of faith to be like, yeah, Colts are winning this game, and they're going to win it by 10. I just don't have any confidence to make a prediction like that, unfortunately.
Well, and you're right. They haven't given you that confidence at all. And it's not just the players. I mean, it's, how Gus Bradley did us at the beginning of the year and Shane Steichen just with all his word salad and just some players, some coaches. I mean, it's just a mix of everything that just kind of is giving you that uneasy feeling this year, you know?
And a lot of the things that they're saying, you mentioned it before we went live, Shane has just given us that, for the time being kind of quotes of, well, he is the quarterback for now. Like, just fucking say it. And then like a day later, he changes it. And he keeps saying, well, I got to get better. We got to look at the tape. And I'm like, God damn, dude, we went over this already with Frank Reich. We chopped wood for too long with Pagano. It's like, man, it just feels like every single head coach has no fire on this team. And it's so frustrating. And every once in a while, you'll see some aggression out of Steichen, and he'll get a little bit hot on the sideline, but it's just too few and far between of incidences like that. Like, you don't want to see someone with no control over.
You don't get that good feeling, and you want that with your coach. You want to know, okay, our coach is going to handle it. Even if the game's going sideways, you want to have that feeling in your heart that, okay, Steichen's gonna make the right call. Even if the defense is better than our offense, he'll make the right call. We just don't have that right now.
It's like, man, you look back to games, and I hate to reminisce about the good old days, but you remember those games with Andrew Luck on the field, and I'll take you to that playoff game with the Chiefs. They were getting blown out, but at no point, and honestly, nobody even watching, at no point did you go, man, we're not going to win this game. I'm just going to turn the channel. I don't want to watch this. You never felt like there was anything that was too out of reach. And And sure enough, he came back. They won that game. It was one of the biggest comebacks, and you just don't
I
get
think at
that
the
feeling from
time
this
it was
team.
the biggest comeback in history at the time.
Yeah, at the time. You just don't get, we haven't had that feeling for a long time. Like if they were down by 10 or 13, you're like, fuck it. Like it's even at the beginning of the game, you just kind of see how they come out, and it's almost always flat. There's a couple of times where they get a good drive going and then they fumble the football or throw a pick. Just right from the get-go, Joe Flacco throwing that interception, you're like, all right, that's how this one's gonna go. And it's a really frustrating feeling. I mean, as a Colts fan, you suffer through it, but you don't want to, but you do it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I mean, we're just guys like you and me, man. We're gonna stay loyal no matter what. It's hard, but we're gonna do it.
I mean, I'm gonna watch, but I mean, there's been bright spots. I mean, both I believe Zaire and was it Nick Cross or EJ Speed are two of the top 4 in tackles. Franklin to me really isn't a surprise being there, but having 2 out of the top 4 leading the league in tackles is pretty cool. I mean, it could be a bad thing. That means running backs are getting to the second level too much, but at least they're stopping them there, I guess. Grover Stewart's having himself a really nice season. I saw the Colts put out a stat on him. He has the most tackles amongst defensive tackles at 44, and he has the most tackles for loss at 8. So some of these people are trying. I mean, Buckner on that. There are some plays where I'll see a running back like shooting down the sideline, and somehow Buckner is like 2 steps behind him. Like the dude is 100% on every play. He's a lot of fun to watch. So
yeah, some guys they give you that good feeling, because like you said, they're not taking the play off. They're not tapping out because they're tired.
No, we were hard on him on Richardson for that, and I think it was pretty deserving. But there are things that you do as a quarterback you can't say that he's the first quarterback to ever be winded, to be tired, to feel like, man, I can't really go the next play. But there are things that quarterbacks know how to do in that situation. Like get into the huddle, take your time, get to the line. If you still can't do it, call a timeout, check to a run play. Like there are some things that quarterbacks can do to take the play off without taking the play off.
Yeah, exactly. And the smart ones know that, but maybe it's on the coaching to not teach him, because we've said plenty of times in the past, like the kid's raw. He doesn't have a lot of game experience. Maybe that's one of those things that we didn't see initially, is that he doesn't know to do that yet because of the lack of experience.
Yeah, and I think you made a point before, and I think that just kind of emphasizes it. I don't think he's immature, like mentally. Like I don't think he's, doing stupid shit, trying to knock out, steal stuff like Milky Ways from a corner store or something. Like I don't think he's immature like that, but I think he's immature as far as like just how to play in the NFL. And it's I mean, I know it's rich coming from someone that is nowhere near a football field, but but you watch enough of it and you can just see the difference in quarterbacks and just that mature level of what the defense is giving him, what to do in a situation. And he's 22, so obviously he's not going to be on that level. And that's really just what we're looking for at this point. It's just kind of that IQ, that football maturity to just understand.
Give us that indentation or indication that this is going to work out if we stick with you,
Mm-hmm. And it also looks like a lot of the time with these plays that Shane Steichen has, they're just not buying into the play. Like it's and even from a fan stance, like when he went for that shit on 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, you're already sitting there going, take before they even kicked it. I was like, man, take the fucking points. Like when he went for it on that it was at the end of the second half of the Texans game. And I was like, man, just take the knee and go in a half tied. Just take the knee. This is going to end in disaster. My brother was sitting next to me. I was like, just take the knee. I had my head in my hat. I was like, just take the knee. And the next thing I heard was the crowd roar, and I was like,
because you knew what just happened. for no reason. It didn't. Stupid.
Like he was horrible passing statistically. There was no reason to do it. And that's the whole thing that a head coach is supposed to do. And that's supposed to put your team into good situations. And that was putting like, it was a bad throw, but he should have never been in that position in the first place. He should never have called that. Run the ball a couple times. Maybe JT breaks it and then we're talking. But when you're deep and you're on your own side, 20, 30 seconds, why would you do that? Even if you complete the pass, it's only like 7 yards or something. It's just the whole thing was stupid. So, and that's been our biggest issue with Shane Steichen, not taking points when they're there. Like I like the aggressive part, but you just have to understand the feeling of the game. And from the bleachers, way up in the 600s, how do I have a better feeling about what's going to happen than the coach standing right there on the sideline? Like you can't tell me that you just can't feel that disaster coming. And it's like, I told you.
Yeah. When has this guy given you the indication that he can make that, or he can make that happen? Aaron Rodgers has. I mean, aside from the Aaron Rodgers thing, because look how many Hail Marys he's completed. But when you don't have when AR doesn't have the accuracy to do something like that, he's just chunking it. I get it. That is half of the play, right? Like you're just throwing the ball up and just hoping that you got enough of your guys down there to make a play. And the odds of that are pretty low. But it wouldn't have changed the game in any way. So all it does is give the kid another interception. Like it's just a stupid call.
Yeah, and then I think even at the end of that game, it was again like the game hasn't got, like you just have that game sense. Momentum is a very real thing. Like whether or not you believe in it, it very much is. That's why they talk about these rhythm passes. They talk about these quick hits, especially for a young guy. Like these quick things just to get him in a rhythm. That's why you go to a Adonai Mitchell early, just do a little 2-3 yard pass. Maybe he'll break it, maybe not. But it's just that establishing that rhythm. You can believe in it, you can't. But I'm sorry, if you go into if you come out when you throw an 0 for 10, the odds that you're going to go 0 for 11 are probably better than going 1. You know what I mean? There's a very real thing there.
Yeah, don't do that to the kid, man.
You just don't do that to him. Just take the tie, go into halftime.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
And I can't understand flack. Like at the end of the game with the Vikings, we talked about that a lot. Taylor being on the field on the last drive, you're down 17 points with a couple minutes to go. There's no reason for Taylor to be there. He's throwing it to Taylor. Like, yeah, those were.
He probably had him in fantasy or something, and he needed the extra points.
Yeah, I gotta get what is it, like 2.8 points or whatever. I need 3 more fantasy points, boss.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
Or it doesn't change anything at all. Yeah.
But and he
these
took
are
shots
the things
on
that
both
we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, that's when Trey Sermon should have been in the game. Trey Sermon should have been catching those passes, not on the critical third down, whatever.
Right.
We have a lot of issues, and it's not just we pretty much were getting the same thing. Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson. It really didn't matter statistically. There was more rushing with one, there was more passing with the other. It really didn't matter. There are a lot bigger problems. And when we talk about like complementary football, we're not just one of the talking heads. There's reason for this. Your O-line's struggling, there's ways to help them out. If your O-line's doing well, quarterback isn't, maybe he's relying too much on a good offensive line to give him more time than there's actually is. Like you have to help out each aspect of your team. So if your line is struggling, go to quicker passes. Don't make them hold for quite as long. That's when you start getting those false starts, those holdings, because they start getting antsy. There's a lot of things you can do, and these damn wide receivers need to help out Anthony Richardson. There's a lot of drops. I know some of them were tough, but man, you get your hands on it, you have to catch it. That's what you're paid.
That's your job. That's literally your job. Yeah. If it touches your hands at all, that's on you, man.
Except I will make an exception. Like there was that Alec Pierce one. I think it was against the Vikings. Joe way overthrew it. It was really high. Yeah. Alec Pierce was extended. He was jumping. His hands were up, and it still clipped off the top of his fingers. I can't really blame Alec Pierce for that. He kind of did everything he could to try and catch it.
Yeah.
That's still a quarterback interception. That's not, it hit him in the helmet and bounced up.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. So, but still, most of the times, Mallory had a couple drops in that one game. I think it was against the Texans. There's a lot of drops against the Texans where it hit him in the hands. Yeah, they took a shot. It was a well-timed hit, but still, you got to catch it.
Yeah, for sure.
There's really no excusing it. Josh Downs had a huge drop. Would have been an easy 6. So I just don't know if they're like, holy shit, they actually threw an accurate pass, like just surprised that it actually got there. I'm not really
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it's been tough, man. It's been a tough ride, but the Jets don't have a good offensive line. And I don't understand why they didn't do much to address it, especially after Aaron Rodgers went down like 3 plays into the season last year. I do feel like this is an offensive line that Colts can take over, but I said the same thing against the Jaguars, and we all know how that one went. So,
yeah,
who knows?
It's definitely going to be a fun one, that's for sure.
I just hope it's not a mess. Like I really hope it's not like another turnover fest, and just I would like at least give me like 15 minutes of a complete game. There's going to be mistakes. Anthony Richardson, he's going to make mistakes in this game. He's not going to come out. He's not going to have 3 incompletions for 350 yards. He's not going to do that.
No.
I just want him to complete at least 50% of his passes, maybe 150, 200 yards. Just don't turn it over. Just don't have those ugly interceptions. That's all I'm asking for. Just show us some improvement. That's all I want to see. And I was looking at we were talking about the playoff picture and a while back, and we were looking at wins, losses, and where the Colts can realistically expect to make the playoffs. And I think we came to the conclusion that like 10-7 is kind of the goal. Maybe squeaking at 9-8, right. But I think 10-7 is kind of that. We're probably getting one of those wild card spots.
Yeah.
Division,
at this
I think it's
point, that's what we're going to have to hope for as a wild card.
Yeah. I think division would come to I think Texans aren't looking that good, but they're getting Nico back, and they have the Cowboys who are fucking terrible. So you look at this game, and if you want to hit that 10 wins, I mean, they got to win 6 in the next 7.
Yeah.
That's the way you look at it. And coming up on their schedule, you look at, obviously, they're playing the Jets tomorrow in New York. So that'll be another interesting thing. Then they host the Lions. I mean, we can already kind of I think we could already put that one into the column. I know sometimes.
Yeah, it's frowned upon to do that, but if you're being real about it, I mean, come on,
Maybe trap game coming up with the Lions. They're playing so good, dude.
I'd love to agree with you on that one, but I gotta go no on that one. I think that's just gonna it's gonna be what we expect it to be.
In order for me to place that bet, I need to see them dominate the Jets. I need to see that blowout game. I need to see them take over, that defensive line take over, rattle the shit out of Aaron Rodgers. I need to see Anthony Richardson kind of come back to that, 2023 form where he had retarded amount of touchdowns in a few quarters. Like that's the team that we need to see against the Jets for me to be like, you know what, maybe that Lions game will be a trap game. But if it's another ugly ass game like they played against the Bills and the Vikings and just that sloppy ass, there's no way I can even say, oh, it might be a trap game. Well, if they lose this game, they're gonna win. They're gonna lose against the Lions too. So we could be looking at this at 4-8 if they don't pull this off against the Jets, and pretty much that's your season, and we're looking to the draft. So
right.
Pretty much every game is important in the season, but this one right here is, just based on what they need to do to squeak into the playoffs, it's circled, highlighted, underlined. Like this is the game that if you're going to right the ship, this is the time you have to do it. Because then you're looking.
You got a Jets team that's falling apart. You got an Aaron Rodgers who's playing like dog crap. So
Mhm.
do it. Their defense is we already talked about their defense is not looking great right now. So don't let them get right on you. You got to get
Mhm.
right on them and take advantage.
Yeah, ever since they fired Sala, that defense has looked fucking terrible. They
I
were
mean,
looking
yeah,
good for a while, and they
which
just
I didn't understand why they fired him. I mean, the defense wasn't the problem, and he's a
mhm.
defensive coach.
Yeah.
So I'll put the blame somewhere else.
And it's when you look at it, they like the Colts. They played a lot of close games, and the only thing is their offense. I think they hit 24 points one time,
Mm,
but they haven't scored more than 24. The Colts have done it 3 times. So just obviously every opponent's different. Every week is different. Like you can't
right.
compare that one stat because the opponents weren't the same. But the Colts have the capability to put up points. They have the they have the team to do it. The defense has shown, at least in stretches of games, that they can be pretty dominant. And it's
Yeah.
weird for me to say that, but they can be. They just
Yeah, it's there.
can't do it for 60 minutes.
Right. When is it going to be there again?
Yeah. But I feel like just kind of looking ahead, if they take the Jets, and let's just mark the Lions as a loss, maybe it'll be a trap game. Probably not. But then they go on the road to the Patriots, whom are bad. The Broncos have been pretty
Yeah.
good, but inconsistent. They get the Titans, who are fucking terrible. They get the Giants, who have also been pretty terrible. And they finish the season with the Jags. So there is a realistic shot that they could go on a run at the end of the season. But if they don't get the win here against the Jets, it's going to be way too little. Like it's going to be too little, too late.
Yeah.
So this game is very important if we want to talk about playoffs. And I know most people are screaming at the screen. I just want a goddamn competent quarterback for for one game. Like I just want to see
Yeah,
good
right.
quarterback
Come
play
on.
for
That's all we
one game.
want, man.
Like we could talk about playoffs in week 18 if it's coming down to that, but we just want to see one decent game in 2024 with good
Yeah.
quarterback play, and that's all we're looking for right now.
Yeah. Give
And
me that good
it has
feeling.
mm-hmm. Man, it's and I just want to see I just want to see good play calling. I just want to see him taking the points when they're there. I want to see him using Jonathan Taylor the way he's supposed to be used. He's not always going to be a between the tackles runner.
Right.
Got to be creative with him. He thrives in space. Get him out on the perimeter, get him out on the edges. Your offensive line is very physical and very athletic.
Yeah.
They thrive again on the edges and setting the edges. We saw that huge run that he had against Buffalo. Quentin Nelson ran all the way across the field and got upfield to make that key block for Taylor. Like, they're very athletic linemen. And if you're just running between the tackles, you're negating that. That's not
Right.
Jonathan Taylor's fault. He can find those little narrow gaps, but that's not where he thrives. And
Right.
and again, he completed 2 passes against the Bills in a lost game when those 2 completions didn't even matter. So they got to be more creative getting him involved.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, there's so many things you can do with a player like that. I mean, with both of them, even if you have doubts about Anthony Richardson in certain aspects, use your other athletes on the field to make up for those weaknesses, at least for now. Try it out. I mean, the worst that's going to happen is we're not going to make the playoffs and we'll lose another game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most fans right now are expecting that outcome. So you're really not letting anybody down at this point. The best thing you can do right now, if you're Shane Steichen and especially Chris Ballard too, is give the fans something to look forward to. We have to grow on something. You have to build on something. It can't just be all downhill and you say, oh, well, the team sucks. You've got to give the fans something to say, but we did this really well, and that should keep developing into next year. So you have to give the fans something to look forward to. And if you're shaking things up like that, there you go. That makes the fans think that, at least think, if you're lying to us, whatever, because Shane, you've been doing that. So whatever. But even if you're lying to us and making us think that that's what you're going to do going forward, fine. Give us some hope, bro.
And based on, I mean, the Colts win one, maybe two games, finish the season 6-11. I mean, that puts you what, maybe top 10 in the draft. I mean, you're probably not going to find, unless if you trade up, Anthony Richardson's replacement in this draft. If you're done with him, like he finishes out the season, he's still completing 40% of his passes, like, and you're calling on it, you're probably not going to find his replacement here. So you're still stuck in that quarterback hell. You probably have to give Anthony Richardson another year. I mean, he's your rookie. You're going to have to see what you can do with him in 2025. I just don't see I don't want to say a late first round, but right at around that 10th pick, you're not going to find, most likely, odds are you're not going to find his replacement there if you're done with him. And I got to believe that they finished this season 6-11. It's going to be a whole new regime change. I don't see a scenario at this point where Ballard is here next year. I mean, he came in saying, hey, if this roster gets me fired, then he gets me fired. Well,
I mean, he was pretty confident. I mean, but in his defense, the roster did look damn good. So he had a lot to be confident about. I mean, hell, I was sitting at the beginning of the season saying, oh, man, this is a great roster. We're going to the playoffs or AFC Championship. Well, okay, it didn't work out. But, I mean, I get why he was saying that, because on paper, which is the old Cowboy saying, on paper, they're the best team, blah, blah. And here we see reality. We actually had a lot more holes to fill and a lot more developing than we thought we did.
Yeah.
So,
like, to be fair, I think Juju Brents could be a great corner, but he can't stay on the field. I think he did find a diamond in the rough in Jalen Jones. Obviously, he found one in Zaire Franklin. And we all know Anthony Richardson, what he can do. He's very like one of the most athletic guys that have ever touched foot on a football field, but he just hasn't put it together. He's 22. So we all knew he was raw, but we thought that Jonathan Taylor was going to be that guy that kind of alleviated a lot of that from him. But I don't know, man. Like, there's still a need in that secondary. I still felt, we needed a corner. We needed someone better, more experienced. Probably Jalen Jones wasn't ready to be thrust into the number one corner spot. Like, I would have obviously Kenny Moore is going to be our slot guy. Juju Brents was going to be the one, and I thought we needed a much better two. And that just obviously that didn't happen. I thought we were a little light at safety. Didn't do anything for it. So our secondary was the biggest issue, and then our defensive line took some major hits. Ibukum gone. Kwity Paye missed a little bit of time. What was his name? Lewis. Like, there was a lot of depth, and it was a strength on that defensive line. And then Buckner goes down. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah. That was a heartbreaker. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but now Kwity Paye's back, Latu's there, Buckner's there, Grover's there. So this defensive line is finally starting to look like what we went into hoping that they'd look like. But that secondary is just not great. They're forcing turnovers, but when they do, the offense can't do anything with it. So and again, that's how we circle back to that complementary football it's just not there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, the fans, man, we're riding with Richardson. Hopefully, the rest of the way, just let the kid finish it out, good or bad, man. Just ride with him and let him get the snaps, let him get the experience. Hopefully, they've had a talk with Joe and be like, Joe, hey, we appreciate what you've done. It didn't work out, but we need you to be big brother right now, or dad. I mean, he's older compared to, I mean, it's possible, but anyway, so big brother for non-weird purposes, and help him out, help your little brother out, pass that torch, if you will, so hopefully that conversation has been had.
Yeah. You'd hope so. I mean, you could tell and I'm not saying Joe Flacco is the Mike Tyson of football, but you could kind of see just that age was there. Yeah, he can come in, he can spot fill, he can play a quarter, he can play a couple quarters. Yeah. But if he's that every game starter, it's just not there. He's not an every round fighter.
Right.
Like if you
Right.
like, I'm not, you can talk about rigged in boxing, whatever. I don't watch enough of it to know, but Tyson was a little bit before my time, and I remember hearing about him. I've watched highlights, obviously, but I never got to sit down and watch an actual Tyson fight. And I was like, I don't know if it was rigged, if he was put like seems like there was a couple opportunities where he could have taken a couple shots, but he just either didn't take him. He looked a little slow in the knees. He's sick, almost
Yeah.
60. So I'm not saying Flacco's 60, but football years,
That's
he's up
yeah.
there,
Oh
man.
yeah. Football years, he's done. He's cooked. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was never on the level of a Brady, or
Yeah,
a Peyton, or even an Aaron Rodgers, who's the oldest guy in the league right now. So
yeah.
he wasn't on that level. So we can't sit here and expect him to still be able to do that. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers is breaking down, and they thought he was still had a handful of years left in him.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't think a lot of Colts fans are expecting Joe Flacco to carry us and stuff like that, but we're seeing right now that that in fact isn't going to be the case. That he is human, no matter what he did in Cleveland as a much older quarterback. So
We were hoping for Cleveland Joe Flacco, and we got you know Colts Matt Ryan. It just it
oh,
we're not getting the version that we wanted out of this, but
Joe Cool, Matty Ice.
mm, it's been rough, man. It's
Yeah,
but people were arguing, he did get to sit last year, and it was by virtue of injury, but he there was arguments we should sit him, he should learn to play the game, whatever. There were good arguments on both sides. No, there's no way that you could have known at the time which would be the correct answer. Like
yeah.
sitting on the bench and learning has helped other quarterbacks. Like I would love for the Colts to have kept Peyton Manning, like everybody else, kept Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck sit behind him for a year or two. Would have loved to see it. I
No
don't.
matter how pro ready he was, like you want
Yeah,
that. That's the ideal situation. Your future quarterback learning from your past franchise quarterback. But we just didn't have that this year. That wasn't available to
yeah.
us. So Joe's all we had. And,
And
I think Joe did a decent job, with what he's done because just even though the stuff we don't see, right? Because there's a lot of things that we don't see. They're never going to talk about the conversations they've had between each other. So there could be that one time where where Anthony Richardson's got to make this decision or throw the ball this way or do something different than what he normally does because he listened to Joe one day. So it's going to come a time where those things are going to kick in.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I think fans should definitely calm down with, oh well, he's going to take so long, and okay, that's probably going to be it, and we're not going to like it. We don't like it now. We thought year two Anthony Richardson was going to be it, right? But it could take longer. It could take a lot
Yeah.
longer. We don't know. We'll see how long they are willing to sit on Anthony Richardson. If not, then
I
well,
mean, like I was saying, I feel like they're not going to find his replacement at wherever they pick this year. It's not going to be in the top 5. I unless if they don't win another game and a couple of those other teams win more than I don't see them being in the top 5. I don't see them getting top quarterback prospect. So they're going to have to go secondary is all I'm going to say. No matter what you do in this draft, that's what you have to do.
yeah.
I'm not even trying to look
That's
for
a
it
lot of the
anyway.
mock drafts. You're not far off on that. A lot of the mock drafts that I've seen have the Colts going secondary, going corner.
Yeah,
So
they should,
you're not wrong
and
on that. I think you're onto something.
and they should have done it in this last one. I've been a Ballard defender most of this time, and now it's bro. Like you could have traded up there in the second. You could have grabbed McKinstry or DeJean, and you still could have gotten back into the second and gotten your guy in Mitchell. Like that's
Yeah.
the guy they were targeting. That they saw that he was falling, so he traded back, collected a couple, another pick or two, and then still got Mitchell. Mitchell was their guy in the second round, But it's like you could have traded up, gotten gotten a good secondary player, and still gone back into the second. Like 3 of those mid-round picks that we had aren't even they're not even on the practice squad. So there was
Right.
picks there to play with, and he just, again, he wasn't aggressive. He hasn't been aggressive for the last couple of years. He's never been aggressive in free agency, and I it's what I hated about Grayson. You can't build the fucking roster through free agency either and just throwing money at everybody.
Right.
And so, well, he had more. At least he had playoff because we had luck. Like,
yeah,
Luck was
he had
gift
way
wrapped.
better quarterback.
Yeah, he was gift wrapped Andrew Luck
In this
on a
league,
silver
your quarterback means so much, and hopefully they're seeing that hey, like, we did invest this in this kid, and we did, Adonai Mitchell was our guy because we saw what he did in Texas.
Yeah,
but you've got to start putting those pieces together, seeing how they fit and work with each other. You can't just depend on, oh well, he's gonna have to figure it out. He's not, man. You're gonna have to teach him. We talked about him being immature football wise, because he, like we talked about before in earlier episodes, is he mature as a man. He says the right things, does the right things, a good human, everything you want out of a person, not just a football player, but as a person. But football, you still got a long way to go. So they're gonna have to do something to develop that. And Ballard's, I mean, dude, you got to do something at trade deadline. You got to make something happen.
Nothing.
Right, and then nothing fell flat, and here we are. The fans are just like, WTF, man? Like
and they
like do something for me.
And they were saying, yeah, we're all in, and then we did nothing.
Prove it. Don't say it. Prove it.
And in
Don't give me the Jerry Jones.
An all-in year is being aggressive in the draft. You trade up, you make those moves, and you do everything you can to address glaring needs. Again, if we're sitting at home and we're like, yeah, their secondary sucks. Well, obviously, aside from Kenny Moore at the time, we had Juju, but it's like everyone behind him, you don't want them starting. Jalen Jones has been fine, but he's not supposed to be your cornerback one. The dude's a 6th-round pick. Like, he's not. He's done well.
Yeah, and there's nobody saying that he can't potentially be our future guy. That no one's saying that, but I mean, the design, by design, he wasn't supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, and so that was something that you needed to be aggressive with. And I'm not saying that the trade with L'Jarius Sneed and the Chiefs, like that, obviously, I don't know. There was a guy that's saying, oh, they're finalizing, and then it was like, yeah, we weren't even talking to him about it. So I don't know what that whole debacle was about, but let's just hypothetically say that they were in play for Sneed. You're looking at it now and going, kind of glad it didn't happen. He didn't look good when he was playing, and now he's not. He's injured, so it's maybe it was for the best.
Yeah, exactly.
But it didn't happen. But you still would have liked to seen him pull a few triggers and try to bolster it up a little bit. Get
I mean, I wasn't even really seeing a lot of rumors out there that phone calls were even being made, but I mean, I don't want to beat the dead horse or anything like that, but I hope that these are things lessons that he's going to learn going forward. Like, got to make these moves. Like, winning organizations make moves. They take the risk, even if like a Snead does get hurt. 5 minutes into signing him, as he's walking out the door. But I mean, it happens. You're like, oh shit. Well, I guess we'll try next year. But
yeah,
I don't know.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
Something. Yeah, I mean, Ballard's going to have to do something.
Yeah, for sure. Brian said, damn, Tom Segura and Kevin James are Colts fans. Yeah, it's definitely not the first time I've heard that one. I'll take it as a compliment. I was actually called Adam Sandler at a concert by a really drunk chick. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I've heard the Kevin James before.
I didn't see it until right now. I'm like, I guess. But
as long as I'm at the MMA version of Kevin James in the where that movie, Here Comes the Boom.
Oh yeah.
Put some respect on it.
One of my good friends I used to watch football with all the time on Sundays. Both of our kids would play together or whatever, and we'd drink. And there was his son, whatever. One time it was like a Tuesday or something, and they were watching stand-up comedians, and Tom Segura comes on. He goes, his son looks at his dad. And he goes, I didn't know Jeff was a comedian. He's like, no, oh my God.
That's
No,
funny.
son, that's Tom Segura. Even his like
Damn.
7-year-old son was like, holy shit, that's your friend Jeff that comes over.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, it's not the first time that's been said. But
Yeah. Well, hey, I
I'll take
appreciate it. I like Kevin James.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for the
I'll take it
compliment.
as a compliment. Maybe didn't mean it as such, but I'll take it as
Yeah.
one.
I mean, heck,
But
let's hear what other questions you got, man.
yeah,
Let's hear
sure.
it. You didn't
Yeah,
know
we've
Kevin
got.
James was Colts, but
I mean, I think now you just need a Burr and Bert to complete the 4 horsemen. Yeah.
huh,
I don't know if we can get someone to scream and be that angry all the time.
no,
I'll be on the
no.
lookout. If you know anybody, let us know.
Yeah,
Obviously, man. Wow. So ways to win. I think we've been over it. We say it every year, beating a dead horse. They just don't listen to us. I guess Steichen isn't one of our subscribers, but
yeah,
man, you got to run Jonathan Taylor and be creative with it. I think every single, what was it, 6 runs in the second half. Last week against Buffalo, I think each one of those was, like between the tackles. There was nothing creative about them. It was obvious running situations, and then he just stopped doing it.
yeah.
So he needs to utilize Jonathan Taylor much better. I get tired of saying it. You got a pretty good line. You got athletic linemen. Use them. Run Taylor
Yeah.
behind him. He shouldn't have any less than 25 touches in a game. And I'm not saying he should be running it 25 times. I'm saying he should pass catching, running. He should have like 25 touches. And I say it every time. Quarterback, doesn't matter if it's Flacco or Richardson. They're throwing 25, 30 times plus a game.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be happening either. Richardson obviously struggles with accuracy, and apparently so does Flacco. So winning formula is to run the damn ball. We've beaten that dead horse all last year. We've been doing it all this year, and they just don't do
Paid
it.
the man. Give him the rock. I mean, I don't know how else you make that make sense.
And I think that fourth quarter where he pulled Taylor, he actually said, oh, the game didn't dictate. Like, at no point do you have someone like Taylor. Could you imagine John Harbaugh pulling Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter? Well, the game didn't dictate him being. He can hit a home run at any point. Like, that's just not a player you take off the field.
With the elite players, the game always dictates because that player can change the game.
Just could you imagine the Vikings pulling Justin Jefferson? Well, we were running. The fuck are you talking about? Oh, well, we appreciate you trying to change the algorithm for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need the help, man. I mean, it's funny we're at 69 subscribers, but we still want to get more. But yeah, so and then obviously rattle Aaron Rodgers, get to him. Can't let him sit back there like you let Trevor Lawrence do.
No.
And that's kind of where I have the bad feeling that this team has the capability to put him on his ass. They also have the ability to make him look like he did in his prime.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, you're right. It could go both ways, but his scrambling ability has always been really good for him. Mm-hmm. But damn, he looks slow. He does not. He's taking a lot of sacks, more than normal, and I think that's just age catching up with him. Father Time's undefeated, and we saw it. We even saw it last night with the great Iron Mike Tyson. Man, I mean that age does mean something at a certain point. You hate to think it because we both watched Aaron Rodgers in his prime and how dominant he was, and now you see him on the Jets, and you're just like, dang, man, it kind of sucks to watch. Right. It sucks, but I think with that, we can work with that. Our defensive line is killing it. And so we'll be okay with that. I think if they just keep pressure on Aaron Rodgers, make him use his feet if you can, and don't give anything deep. Let him have the short stuff. Devontae Adams is really good underneath. And I don't see there being a problem. Our defensive line should be in his face all night. All afternoon, excuse me. But
it's not a night game anymore.
Yeah, yeah, got flexed. But I don't blame him though. I wouldn't want Jets Colts in prime time
No,
either. Not
no,
the way these two teams have been
mm-mm,
playing this year.
no.
You want to make that money, and no one's gonna tune into that. Everyone's gonna go to bed
No.
early.
Yeah. Well, I mean, except for us, but even admittedly, I checked out of that Vikings game. I think late third or early fourth. I was like, again, it was just one of those things. Like it's only an 8-point game, but you just I'm not going to stay up for this.
No, no, no. So I get the network want to do it, but man, this could turn into a pretty good game. I mean, a lot of times when you have a hurting defense, and then you're going to have Anthony Richardson coming back wanting to make a statement, that could turn out well for points on that side. And opposite side of that, I mean, what if Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams start clicking again? And
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier, Garrett Wilson's there too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those two are elite guys. I mean, Devonta Adams not what he used to be, but still, like the man can get it done. So
And I
this could easily get out of hand.
yeah,
But I think it's going to be an interesting game. I don't want to say a good game. I don't want to go on a limb and say a good game, but I think it could be an interesting game
it'll
just
definitely.
to see what happens.
I think it'll be a very entertaining game. I what was it? The Jaguars and Vikings. It was like 12-7 or something. Just a shit show of a game. I don't think it'll be
Yeah.
anything like that. I think both of these teams can put up some points. The Colts have proven they can put up more points at times than
Yeah.
the Jets have. So neither one of these teams have any kind of consistency on offense, and
Mm-mm.
especially now that that whole coaching situation is in limbo for the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still really hard for me to give the edge to the Colts. I mean, we did this AFC
Yeah.
South show. What was it, Thursday? And I just got to stick with that prediction that I had. I try to always say the Colts are going to win. You have that homer in you, but
Yeah.
I mean, I took the
Well,
Bills
let
to
me
win
ask you something, Jeff.
31-24 last time.
Do you think that Shane's kind of feeling that chair of his getting a little warm? Do you think he's going to come out here just with that effort attitude and just like try and just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks?
I hope so. It doesn't seem like Steichen has really opened up his playbook at all. And we've talked about kind of the lack of creativity that he's put into his offense. It's been very predictable at times, very vanilla. Like there was again, we talked about that 4th and 2, 4th and 3. He probably thought it was a little bit closer than it was. He started putting Buckner and Grover out there on offense to run. Like I don't give a shit what distance it is, man. Let's see what you're doing here, bud.
Yeah.
And then he pulled him off
Yeah.
the field and then ran the shitty play that turned it over on downs. So
Yeah.
like I would have liked to have seen what it is that you're doing. And he, it seemed like he was about to get creative and he backed out of it.
I mean, there's
Again,
things
it
that he
seems
can do. We talk about it. I feel like every week we're talking about using all your athletes in multiple facets. I mean, the Gremlin in the chat just said y'all can win this one for sure. You can't play him as soft as the Texans did. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, it's a winnable game. It's a very winnable game.
yeah.
Just what is Shane Steichen going to do to make that happen? Like, what pieces are you going to move around? Because obviously, doing the same thing hasn't done it for you. So let's try something different. Let's shake it up. Throw some random stuff out there, and let's confuse the Jets defense. You got Anthony Richardson back. You got Jonathan Taylor healthy. You've got a great core of receivers. So, and you're not using your tight ends. And I think that's going to be the thing is not being using the tight ends. Start using your tight ends. Let's surprise them a little bit because your targets to tight ends this season are horribly low. So if you come out there and you got Granson and you're throwing a Mallory, I mean, they're not going to game plan for that. So if you want to surprise somebody, you have nothing on tape right now. You don't have a lot of Anthony Richardson with the tight end play packages. So throw that out there just to see, right? If it doesn't work, then hey, it doesn't work, and you tried it, whatever. You've got decent tight ends, man. Hey, buddy. Can I get a go Colts?
You say go Colts?
Go good.
There you go.
Yeah, go Colts. Go Colts. Hey, that's subscriber number 70 right there.
There you go. Put it right there. There you go.
Yeah. This is our team. Hey, shout out to Seth, man. He's been killing it all year, every week. He's been singing those songs, and you know what? It paid off for you, buddy. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Congratulations, man. You putting
Oh hell
yourself
yeah.
out there, and it paid off. Good for you, man.
Yeah, that dude, man, he got blue in his house. He had the Colts cheerleaders come and do a song with him. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
there you go, man. He's like, everyone's making fun of
yeah.
him. Dude has hey,
Hey,
he's
and
he's
you know
he's
what?
winning.
Make fun of me. Make fun of me while I'm live at the Super Bowl. Yeah, come on, make fun of
Mhm.
me.
Yeah,
While you
I'm
sit at
here
home
and
eating
you're
your
not.
Doritos, I'm gonna eat a $20 hot dog.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So,
So
but
I
yeah,
say
good
we
for
go
him,
ahead and
man.
start wrapping this up. This kid needs to go to bed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna
Hey,
stick
thanks
to
for
my
everybody in the
prediction.
chat, man. It's been fun interacting with
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for commenting and joining in on the conversation. We appreciate it. Um, on this AFC South show, I'm gonna stick to it. The last time I changed it, I should have stayed because I would have hit the nail on the head. I'm gonna say it's a close game, and I just the Colts haven't given me any reason that they can put together a full game. I picked the
Yeah.
Jets to win 24-20, and that's just mainly because they're at home. Aaron Rodgers. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Colts secondary. So that's why I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope it's like 38-7 Colts. That'd be amazing. Just that really statement win that we need going into the game against the Lions. But I just
Very fanboy prediction there.
yeah, I don't have a whole lot. They haven't given me a lot of faith to make a prediction like that. So
Yeah. No, I get it. And I think I don't think any fan would disagree with you there. I mean, you haven't really been given a lot of confidence to make a better prediction. I don't blame you.
yeah.
I mean, as far as
What
my
do you
side
think, man?
goes, like I think it's gonna be a lot of turnovers, and so that's the reason why I have the score a little lower. Um, so I'm just just because I think they're gonna change some stuff up and do a couple different things. I think Anthony Richardson going to use his legs a lot more, and I think that the Colts are going to edge it out by 3, 17-14. But I
Hmm.
think it's only they're going to be low because I feel like there's going to be 2 interceptions on each side. It's going to be a lot of running because Jets, Brees Hall, phenomenal. And you got Braylon Allen, who I've loved in Wisconsin for a long time. And Jonathan Taylor, another Wisconsin guy. So I think they're going to be running the ball a lot. I think the 2 defenses are going to do well. So that's why I feel like it's going to be 17-14.
Right on. Yeah, like I said, I hope the Colts prove me wrong. I hope I obviously hope that the Colts win and kind of right this ship. I
Yeah.
like that prediction. The Gremlin things 24-13.
24-13 Colts. That's
All
hey,
right.
you know what?
I'll
That's
take it.
not
I'll take it,
that's
man.
only one more touchdown other than mine, so
Yeah,
I'm down with that.
I'll take it. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see tomorrow. Obviously, it's not a prime time anymore, so we won't have to wait too long to find out if we were right.
That just
But
means we won't be able to watch it the right way.
yeah, I'll have to old
Yeah.
argamapirate.com.
Being in Houston, being a Colts fan, you got to find alternative
Yeah.
methods.
Yeah, they don't ever put them in prime time, and when they do, they shit the bed anyway. So
Yeah.
they just get
But
flexed right back out of other
it's going to be interesting, man. I'm
yeah,
interested to see how this game's going to go.
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm not hoping that the Colts lose. Obviously, we want them to win. I want them to turn it around. So I hope that I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Prove me wrong, please. Let's get that win.
I would love to be
VPN and
wrong
YouTube.
here.
Yeah. Prove me wrong. I'll be more than happy to eat crow on this, but
Yeah.
we'll probably be going live again on Monday. So we hope to see everybody there. And again, thanks. Thanks for commenting, talking to us. It's been a lot of fun
Yeah, that was
chatting with
fun.
everybody on here. Definitely. And yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing you on Victory Monday after hopefully the Colts beat the Jets. But until then, we'll see you next time. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell your
Hit that
friends.
notification bell too, so that way when we go live, you can get back in the chat and we can chop it
absolutely.
up.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see you guys Monday night. Y'all be good people.